So I'm continuing with the theme of laughing at myself. And I'm going to read a paragraph from Insight into Emptiness by Kensur Jampatechjog. And just give me no end of information with my mind. So he writes, in the case of us ordinary sentient beings, sometimes it seems that the afflictive eye-grasping mind leads to anger without the valid eye-apprehending mind arising first. This is a false impression. In this case, the valid eye-apprehending mind lasts only a moment, and the innate eye-grasping follows very quickly afterward. So I thought of a very great example. The eye-grasping for me happens all day long in different scenarios, but I was thinking of a situation that happened before COVID that was just loaded for me, and loaded with learning too. So I went one day to the DMV early, because that's what you have to do in a small town to get a place in line. And they had gone to a new buildings. There was a new system where you take a ticket. And because the stand-up meeting went so long that morning, I wasn't first in line like I usually am. So I was way behind right at the get-go. So I was kind of okay with that because I brought a book. So I'm just sitting there waiting my turn. And I just thought, okay, I'm waiting. And the valid eye apprehending mind was manifest, as it often is due to habit and latencies. The afflictive eye-grasping mind hadn't arisen yet. So pretty soon someone came to sit next to me, and she was very friendly, and she wanted to know why I was wearing maroon. And so she was very curious about what we were doing here at the Abbey. And then she started telling me her story, which was really filled with sadness, and she had just been diagnosed with cancer, and her partner was sick, and she was just talking to me for the longest time, so I felt just such tremendous compassion for her. And then I overheard someone say, but you need to have cash. You can't get this without cash or a check. And immediately my mind went into self-grasping, because I had plastic. I didn't have any of those two things, and I sat up, and the woman said, "What's wrong?" The woman who was telling me her story. And I said, "I don't have any cash. I don't have a check. I've got all my ID. It didn't say on the website I needed cash or a check. Now I have to leave, and I've been here for 2 hours." And I went, all this eye grasping going on. And she said, "Don't worry, dear. I'm going to go to the bank right now, and I'll loan you some money." A total stranger. She said, "I know you'll pay me back. I'll just go and get it right now." So the eye-grasping mind settled down, and I felt great gratitude for this woman who was trusting a total stranger and wanted to do that. So off she went. So pretty soon it's my turn to get up to the ticket. I've got all my stuff organized, and the woman comes in and hands me the cash right in the nick of time. And so the young clerk says, "How can I help you?" And I said, "I'm here to get a Washington State driver's license. And here's my Alberta license, and here's all my credentials." And the woman looked at me, and she looked a little bit upset, and she said, "You'll have to excuse me. I have to talk to my supervisor." So I thought, okay, no problem. So when she comes back, she looks quite timid. I don't know what she thought I would do, but she said, "I'm really sorry. It's only residents of British Columbia that can buy a Washington State driver's license. You're going to have to go and write the written test and take a driver's test." And I was just shocked. And I was just speechless. And then the eye-grasping mind rose up. There was that eye. It didn't depend on anything else. It was right there. And I just thanked her, because here's the poor clerk, right? She didn't make the rules. And I went over to my new friend, and I thanked her profusely for the cash. And I said, "I have to start over." She said, "You're kidding." So she was on my side. "Oh, that's not right. You should be able to do that. If those BC people can, you can." I said, "Yeah, I know." So I started driving back to the Abbey. And then the eye grasping was still fueling other afflictions. They're coming fast and furious. And I thought, I'm going to write to whoever's in that Washington state government, and I want them to give me a syllogism as to why a person from Alberta has to take the test and do the driver's license, and those BC people don't have to. Give me a reason. Okay, so maybe the reason is that the people from BC are smarter and they're better drivers. That's not a valid reason. Or maybe they think that the rest of Canada is really stupid and they're terrible drivers and they're just untrustworthy. No pervasion. So I was just getting in mind who I was going to write to, and this is such a dumb thing to do. Oh, it's a cash thing. That's what it is. So more BC people must be coming to Washington state than any other province. I kind of get that, but what the US government doesn't know, or the Washington state government doesn't know, and I'm still fired up, right? This eye is just raging, is that nobody in their right mind would come and vacation in Washington state. They're not going to come and buy property here. They're going to go to Florida. They're going to go to California. They're going to go to Arizona. Don't you know that? They're not going to come here. So why would you do that? I was just so incensed. The eye grasping continues. And then there's all these other stories that I'm telling myself about who I'm going to complain to. And, then, don't they know how long I've been driving? I took the test when I was 14. I passed it the first time. And then I got off school early when I was 16, took the driver's test and got it that day. I've been driving for decades. What do you mean I have to take the test again? I can drive. I know what's in the manual. And then I got the manual because I have to take the test. And then it was very humbling. It's actually a much bigger text than the one I read at 14. And there were things that I didn't know in there. And so I felt embarrassed. I had been doing this raging mostly to myself, I think. Is that true? You can tell me later. So I had to start studying this manual, and it was very humbling. For example, who here, I don't want the guests to raise their hand, because you probably know, who of the residents here know what a bicycle box is? Okay, 2 of you know. What is it, Venerable Jigme? Sorry, that's the incorrect answer. Bicycle box, we're going to call on Venerable Rinchen, who's the newest addition, so it's kind of unfair, but okay.
I also commuted by bike for many years.
Okay.
And so I think the bicycle box is the area that exists near a light that's kind of the end of the bike lane. And usually it's between the right-hand turn lane, if there is one, and the main. And you shouldn't go in it because that's where the bikes are.
Yeah, you shouldn't go in it because that's where the bikes are. I've never noticed this on the roads before. But anyway, that was one of many things that I actually didn't know, and I was very glad to know. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to take this opportunity to really work on my arrogance here. There are things I need to know from this manual just to pass the test, and it'll make me, I hope, a safer driver. So I calmed down and I studied for the test, using up my precious human rebirth, studying that manual. And then the day of the test, I went into the driver's place. And of course, everyone in the place, except for maybe 3 of us, there were about 20 in there. The rest of them were looking like they're under 18. And here I am doing the test. And then I thought, the 8 worldly concerns just flooded my mind. What if I fail? What if I fail this stupid test that those BC people don't have to write? And then I got all mad again about those BC people in the Washington state government. And I did study enough and I did pass it. There's another thing I learned. Who knows what you can do on ocean beaches? Who knows the rule about driving on ocean beaches? Anybody? You can. Driving is allowed on ocean beaches in Grays Harbor and Pacific counties. So the next time that we get anywhere near a beach in those counties, I'm going to go and drive on it. Because I know I can. So the conclusion of this whole experience is that really, the self-grasping ignorance is such a drag. It makes me create such enormous amounts of negative karma. And really, what I really need to do is to, realize emptiness and get a body made of light. Because when you have a body made of light, you don't need a stupid vehicle. You don't have to take a stupid test. And then it's much better for the environment.